Compounds. Compounds are two or more atoms bonded together. Compounds are divided into three different groups. The first being ionic, covalent, and acid. Our first group we'll be looking at is ionic. This is an example of an ionic compound between a metal and a nonmetal. This specific compound is made up of a rubidium ion and an iodide ion. When naming this compound, state the cation first without ion and the anion also without ion. This is an example of an ionic compound between a metal and a nonmetal. Except in this type, the metal can form more than one charge. This compound is made up of an iron 3 ion and an oxide ion. When naming this type of compound, state the cation first, then in parentheses, state its charge with Roman numerals. After this, state the anion. Here is an example of an ionic compound between a metal and a polyatomic ion. This compound is made up of a sodium ion and phosphate. When naming this type, state the cation first, then state the entire name of the polyatomic ion. The next type of compound we will be looking at is covalent compounds. This is an example of a covalent compound between nonmetals. This one is made up of carbon and chlorine. When naming this type of compound, state the atom written at the beginning first, state the second atom's root name. And attach IDE to the end. Next, put a prefix on each name to show how many atoms of each element are in the compound. Remember to make sure the prefix mono is not used on the first atom in the compound's name. This compound would be called carbon tetrachloride. The next compound we'll be looking at are acids. This is an example of an acidic compound without oxygen. When naming this type of compound, use the prefix hydro and attach it to the root of the second ion chlorine. Add IC to the end of the second ion and state the word acid. This compound would be hydrochloric acid. This is an example of an acidic compound containing oxygen. When naming this type of compound, use the name of the polyatomic ion. Take the root of the polyatomic ion and add additional letters to make the name flow. The ending of the polyatomic ion will dictate the suffix used. Since this one ends in ITE, use the suffix OUS. After doing this, state acid. This compound's name would be sulfurous acid. This is another example of an acidic compound containing oxygen. When naming this one, take the root of the polyatomic ion, add additional letters, and decide the suffix that should be used. Since this one ends in ATE, use the suffix IC. After this, state acid, and this compound is sulfuric acid. And that is the process for naming compounds.